Okay, we're going to give this a try. This is basically just a review of the scatter plots on the calculator. So let's just take this set of data. All right, now to remind yourself what you're going to do here, obviously we're going to turn that on. To get to the scatter plot, we're going to hit Stat and Enter. Okay, and in this calculator, everything's all cleared. We're just looking for L1 and L2. We've got that, so we're ready to enter our data. So in L1, I'm going to enter the income. Okay, then in L2, I'm going to enter the years of education. Okay, and then a couple things to double check. Here's all my data. So we're looking at the bottom. We knew we had 10 participants. So if I look at the bottom of my screen, well, let's put it on the last piece of data. So I've got 10 pieces of data. All right, I've got the same number in this column as I do in this column, so I've got nothing mismatched. Okay, so then we should be good to go. And then the next thing we need to do is adjust our window. So right now I have it going from 90 to 130. Well, if I were to hit graph, that's obviously not going to show up because none of my incomes are between $90 and $130. Okay, so I need to look at my list here. All right, I'm going to look for the smallest number and the biggest number. So I've got the smallest number looks like 24,000 and the biggest 125,000. So in my calculator, my minimum needs to be less than the smallest, and the smallest we said was 24,000, so let's go like 22,000. Okay, and our biggest was 125,000, so let's go above that, maybe 127,000. All right, remember, just leave the other numbers the same. We're just gonna change the minimum and maximum for each problem. So then if I look at my years of education, my smallest number is 12, my biggest number is 20. So I need to go below 12 and above 20. Now, they don't have to match this exactly. As long as you're a little above and a little below your minimum and your maximum, all of your points should show up. So we should have 10 points. So let's hit graph. And if we hit graph, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we've got all our points. All right, from there we decide if it's a positive or a negative correlation. Well, they're increasing. Okay, so our points are kind of going from lower left to upper right. So we are increasing, so that's going to be a positive correlation. If it's a positive or a negative correlation, that's when you're going to do the line of best fit or the fitted line. All right, so here's our steps for that. So we hit Stat and then right arrow so that it says Calc. Then we hit the number 4. And if there's anything else in your calculator at this point, just hit clear twice and then start over. But we're good. We have line of reg equals ax plus b, so I hit Enter. Then I'm going to hit y equals. And again, if there's numbers here, just clear them out, but we're good. Then go vars 5, right arrow twice till it says EQ, then go Enter and graph. Okay? And then that's our solution. So then what we do is when we draw a picture of this, all right, on your paper, so you just draw that, like I was trying to tell you in class, I would start with the line and then draw your points around it. So then I've got one there, then I've got 2 up here that are across from each other, one that's kind of on the line, one that's up here, one that's up here, one above the line, and one below the line. Okay, so it's about that. Okay, so I tried to draw a quick little sketch that looks like my screen. Okay, and then you need to label it, so we put income in first. And that was in, I'm assuming, dollars. Doesn't say. And then we have years of education up the side. And then we should put in our window. So in this case, we did a minimum of 22,000, so that's going to go here. And then we did a maximum of 127,000. So I'm just showing what I chose for a window, so that it's showing what your values were and how close it is. Here my minimum was 10 and here it was 22. Okay, if you go farther than that, like if you were to do something like 30, then your graph's going to look a little different. If you did something like 21, it's going to look a little different. So just show me what your window was so that I can compare. All right, from there, if I were to ask a question, for example, about the graph, like what would someone who has 15 years of education possibly expect to make for an income according to this? Okay, so I just hit the arrow and that makes this show up at the bottom. Well, years of education was my Y, so I want to change this so that my Y is 14. Oops, I gotta go this way. About 14. Oops, a little too far. All right, so I'm at 14, but then I need to be set up with the rest of my data, so I'm gonna have to go way over here. Okay, and our line is about right there, so then I just look at my X, and it looks like about $24,234. Now, of course, that's not a precise science, okay? It's just using this data, figuring out kind of what the average would be for what these people had for their particular incomes and years of education. Okay? And that's pretty much a review of the scatter plots. If you have questions, come see me.